Shinichi Kanou is a slacker otaku who spends his day locked up in his room watching anime and manga. Shinichi applied for a government position as an otaku, getting a perfect score on the test. Shinichi suffers from a social distancing condition and lives alone after his high school crush rejected him. His boss, Jinzaburou Matoba, serves him a spiked tea as they talk about the job, making him fall asleep, thinking of the girl who turned him down, this being because he liked anime and comic books. With him defending his life's work as he wakes up in a cold sweat, he realizes he's in a strange room. As he glances around, he notices a gorgeous female shivering. The maid is freaked out by the boy, but he gives the girl a score of 90 out of 100. When the girl gets up, she speaks to him in a foreign language, but motions for him to put on a ring. Shinichi senses how scared she is of him, but he does put on the ring, and they're able to now communicate with each other. The kid is taken aback when a girl refers to him as her master. She explains that she'll be taking care of all his daily necessities, starting today. Introducing herself as Musil Foreign, Minori Kaganama was standing behind him and says that they are in the Latios Forest, which is similar to the suburbs of the Holy Elden Empire. Shinichi attempts to retain a calm demeanor when speaking to Minori, but he's entranced by her, nicknaming her Miss Melons. Minori is his personal bodyguard. He reveals his otaku side by listing a variety of cartoon and anime cliches. Minori, on the other hand, informs him that he is in another universe. He receives his briefing from Matoba. Matoba tells them the story that they detected a wormhole in the Earth's surroundings in Mount Fuji around a year ago. On the other side of the wormhole was a completely different world that had a separate social realm with magic and dragons. The Holy Empire was confronted by the Japanese Defense Army. Fortunately, no side had the foresight to engage, and then they started beginning negotiations with the representatives. Shortly after, they appoint Shinichi as the general manager of Anitech, a company that exports the greatest manga and animation from Japan, and being aside from that, he's going to be an ambassador for Japan. This being because the government didn't want to engage with a politician, saying that a regular person, Shinichi is a bit freaked out from this position and wants to go back home, but Matoba threatens him, claiming ownership of his freedom. Minori reassures him that if he does a great job, he may be able to reclaim his independence, so he should work hard. The maid brings him tea later on in the night, with the maid still being terrified of him. Shinichi reintroduces himself by bowing to her, with Muso doing the same back to him, and her ears are noticed by the youngster. The maid is terrified. In the past, the maid was humiliated for her ears, being traumatized by the event. She's afraid she'll be punished, but Shinichi adores them, with Muso being half elf and half human. In this world, elves and half elves are despised in the realm, being looked down in society, but the boy takes a picture with her, and the two start to get more familiar, with him starting to talk more about his world and the differences. Then he begins to teach her how to read and write. She then introduces him to Mr. Brooke, being the gardener. When he wakes up for breakfast, Musil asks him where does he plan to eat it at, and then she starts to change his clothes, with him being rather confused, to then startling her. She assumes he would be ashamed if a person like her changed his clothes. But Shinichi explains he's not ashamed, but it's more of embarrassment of having another person change his clothes, with him explaining this to Musil, with Musil thinking about it the other way around, understanding. Minori comes in to take him to see the Empress, trying to help him get acclimated to the culture. Shinichi reassures her that he'll be fine, which makes her more worried that this will be the end of her. Shinichi arrives at the kingdom, completely starstruck. The group bows their heads in front of the Empress, but after he lifts his head to see her, he can't hold back his excitement, as well as the shock, screaming, "She's a little girl" multiple times, angering the Empress, with the guards knowing this will be the end of him. Petrolka and Eldiant III exclaims she's an adult woman. Having turned 16, she then uppercuts him, having to be held back. Shinichi is blissfully enjoying this. Petrolka and Eldiant III ask someone to come bring her a sword so she can do the deed herself. Multiple covers him, saying in their culture you don't become an adult until you're 20, saying he was just overcome with her beauty. Petrolka overlooks this, and they begin. Minori breaks down the other important people in the room. To the left is Sakar, and to the right is Gallius and Kodabar, an advisor and a royal knight. Just then, Gallius speaks up, being reluctant on the idea of otaku culture, saying if this is the man over it, that this culture could be very harmful and toxic. Hearing these words, Shinichi is unable to control himself, with Minori trying to stop him. Shinichi tells him, as the adult, it's your job to judge it fairly, and if you don't do so, they're just an idiot. Gallius assumes that he's calling him an idiot, which makes him draw his sword. Zahar has to hold him back. Petrolka finds this very amusing, giving them her full support. On the way back, Minori expresses how scared she is, but admits Gallius taking interest in him was pretty great. Thinking about the man in a BL manga, Shinichi asks Matoba what exactly his job is going to be, with the supervisor unable to properly explain, saying it's a habit of theirs to make a budget for a place to stay at and then setting up meetings for it, but to not write down the actual objective, with the government wanting to be the first to set up a trade, but not wanting to send out a longer budget without knowing the full details. All Shinichi has to do is request manga materials that people here would gravitate towards, and they'll just bring them to him. That night, Kanou ponders, given that the ring functions as a physical device, but does not provide a complete grasp on the language, so they are unable to read or write. Shinichi knows that he's gonna have to start teaching them Japanese. He goes to the kitchen to grab a drink, to only notice Musil studying in the kitchen, and he warns her that staying up too late is not healthy. However, she says she has to work throughout the day, so at night is the only time she can actually study. Given this, Shinichi decides to assist her studies every night. They were able to obtain all the materials that he requested. Petrolka arrives soon after to witness the process. Zahar warns her not to run. Because Petrolka is unable to comprehend the manga, the two establish a first-name relationship. In order to simplify the communication, Shinichi reads the manga to her so she can understand it, then orders everyone out the room. Shinichi makes a point for Musil to be in the room with him. While Shinichi admires the harem situation, with the Empress and the Maid, Petrolka is livid, wanting him to turn the page. Musil starts to read, and shows that she can understand the language. Petrolka is becoming increasingly jealous, seeing the two of them flirt. Then she decides to sit in his lap, as well as start ordering Musil around, making the girl bring her tea, doing this until she left. When going into their open room, he's startled when seeing Brooke in the dark. Hitting the lizard man by accident, Brooke gives him a wooden stick if he wishes to beat him. Musil comes in to check on his hand. This confuses the boy, as he would think that she'd be checking on Brooke, and the two of them inform him that nobles punish their subordinates all the time, implying this is the way things are here. This makes him realize that the world is fundamentally different from his own. The next day, he takes Brooke and Minori to go walk around to see the civilians, learning that 80% of them can't read or write, using pictures to communicate. What shocked him more is that the children are being raised as soldiers, with it being the only way they can be recognized as citizens. Both Brooke and Musil served in the army. At break time, some of the children come to greet him. Shinichi passed out a manga series, asking them what do they do for entertainment. He's shocked to know that they don't have any free time to enjoy this. Later on, Petrolka comes to visit Shinichi, wanting him to read her a manga. Musil comes in to serve them tea and snacks. Petrolka is mad, saying she didn't call for them to have any snacks. Shinichi gets her to calm down and let them have a break. Petrolka gets up, taking out her anger on Musil. Petrolka starts to make prejudiced remarks about the elves to Musil, not seeing her as a person. Shinichi is extremely angered by her words. Petrolka is shocked and wants to know why is he standing up for her. Shinichi comments on how painful it is to be insulted by someone, knowing it's not his place in the society to say something or to speak on their social hierarchy, but remembering the time and place when he got rejected. Shinichi brings up the word equality and how his world is shaped around this idea. Petrolka gains a great deal of respect for him, for standing up to her and Gallius for what he believes in. Petrolka finds him eccentric, willing to be lenient on what happened today, but makes him promise her that he's going to teach her Japanese and this culture, finding it unacceptable that a maid has more knowledge on this than the Empress, with her leaving for today. Later that day, Musil was reading a manga that reflects her life, crying from it. A month has passed, with a power generator and a school being built. Petrolka comes to show how far she can understand kanji, with her vowing not to lose to Musil. Minori comes out to pay respect to the Empress, but Shinichi is lost, with him checking her out, making Petrolka see him as a dog. Shinichi tries to honor her the same way though, but the way he's able to express such a topic in a very educated way worries all of them, finding it highly inappropriate. Petrolka worries if no one keeps an eye on him that he'll end up impregnating his maid, with the two of them blushing, not denying this. In the afternoon, Petrolka would come to his house to read manga, with other children of noble backgrounds coming to read along with them. Soon later, other races stop by as well. When class is over, Petrolka and Shinichi talk alone together. The girl states how he's different from everyone else, but everyone else just wanting to use her and the power of the Empress, stating this is the first time she's had this much fun with another person. Shinichi agrees, saying he started to have a lot more fun when he came here when he started talking to Musil and herself. Hearing another woman's name involved angers her, with Patrolka calling him an idiot, with him not taking the hint, leaving. Minoru comes in to break down the dangerous situation he's playing. The Elden Empire is a stony feudal society who aren't ready to understand the modern beliefs of freedom or equality. The reason they're going along with this idea is because it seems new and fun to them, but the ramifications could be a huge political divide that could result in a conflict that would lose Patrolka's position as the Empress. Later at night, from Yusu's lessons, she asks for him to take off the ring. Kanou is confused by this, but complies. She takes a deep breath and begins to communicate with him, with a bit of broken language, but succeeds. Kanou praises her work, but admits that it was a bit awkward. Yusu confesses that one day when he decides to go back to his country, that he would bring her back with him. Kanou is shocked by this, but tells himself not to be fooled by her, that of course she would want to go back with him. She would probably be treated a lot better there, remembering this can't be because she likes him. So this is where we're gonna leave off in today's video. If you liked today's video, here's another one just like it, so go check it out. I'll be breaking down this anime into multiple parts. Now if you like this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll be uploading more daily videos just like this one. So I'll see you next time.